So you've probably seen for sale ads. It'll be a car that you're interested in, some old, thing that's been sitting around for 20, 30, 40 years, but it says no title. And so, kind of like, well, that's a dead end. That's not something that I can deal with. Well, in Kansas, you do have options. There's still, the possibility that that could be a good deal that, you could pick up and do something with that car. Again, this is only for Kansas. I can't speak about any other state, but if the vehicle is an antique, that means 35 years or older, it can be sold on a bill of sale. It has to be official Kansas form. The Kansas Department of Revenue bill of sale form. You can't just buy it, on a piece of scratch paper, something written on a notebook piece of paper. It has to be an official Kansas bill of sale form. And then you'll be required to have a vehicle inspection where they verify the VIN number. Typically, when you are verifying a VIN for, say you purchase a vehicle that's out of state and you're transferring it into Kansas, you can get the VIN inspection done at a county location or a local location. That does not work when you're trying to register an untitled antique, or when you're trying to get a title for an untitled antique. You have to have it done by the Kansas Highway Patrol. They have different locations set up where they do the inspections. If you're in a major locality, if you're in Kansas City or something, they probably have something that's set up that's open normal business days, business hours every day. If you're in the smaller towns, they're probably going to have somebody there on a rotating basis. I know in my town, which is actually pretty decent sized, they only have an officer here on Tuesday mornings from 8 until 10:30. And so that's the only time you can go get that VIN inspected. On the website, referencing the inspections, they are very clear but also very unclear. It says very specifically that if the vehicle is not able to run and drive or legally run and drive to the inspection location, that you have to trailer it there and you have to remove it from the trailer for the inspection. It says that basically they will not come to your house. But then it also says, well, maybe we might come to your house right after that. And so that was a point today. I just went to gather information and talk to the inspector and kind of see, what I was going to need to do. Mainly, where do I put a trailer where they were located? Because it's going to be, it's going to take some time, and it's kind of going to disrupt their flow there if I'm loading and unloading two cars. But he gave me a phone number to call where I can get put on a list for somebody to come to my house and make the inspection here. So that's very good information to know, that if you ask nicely and talk to the right people, that is a possibility. Let's talk about the VIN numbers. If at all possible, you would want to get the VIN run through their system prior to actually making the purchase. That way you'll find out if there's anything that's going to complicate getting the title, or maybe just prevent you from getting the title. As the officer I talked to, he was called them hiccups. They'll run the VIN, see if there's going to be any hiccups. And so they're going to trace the history of that VIN and just find out where the car has been as much as they can and what the situation is. In my examples, one of the cars was last registered and titled in 1989. The other one was last registered and titled in 1990. That's not going to be a problem. If there was a more recent, and I don't know what the cutoff date is on this, I just know that he told me that mine is not a problem. I won't have a problem getting them titled with the last data being that old. But if the data is more recent, then they could try to make the title holder file for a lost title instead of issuing a new antique title. And the other thing I had that showed up on one of mine was a lien from 1990 from a bank that, when we pulled up the bank to see what the status was there, the bank went out of business in 1991. Again, that one shouldn't be a problem because it was so old, and I have the verification that the bank went out of business, but it might still be a problem. I don't know for sure. So if you can run those VINs ahead of time and get the background on your vehicle, it'll help you determine if that it's a purchase that you want to pursue. The inspection will be completed on what's called an MVE-1 form. The process will be after you have your bill of sale and after you have that MVE-1 form filled out that verifies the vehicle and the VIN number. You will take those to your normal vehicle registration location, probably the treasurer's office in your town, and from there you will be attempting to get an antique title for your vehicle. There are, generally we're talking here about vehicles that are 35 years old or older. If your vehicle is 60 years old or older, there are a different set of rules that have more leniency. I haven't looked into any of that because I haven't bought anything that old. But once you get over 60 years old, there's it's even more lenient and even easier to get that antique title. I think that pretty much sums up the process. All this information is available online, but I just spent a lot of time hunting it down and trying to decipher what exactly their verbiage meant. And so I thought I'd just talk about it a little bit. I should mention that the officer that I talked to today was extremely helpful. The guy, he helped me out a lot. He really gave me all the info that I needed to know to try to make things go smoothly, and I appreciate that. I will say the general tone in Kansas is not to stop you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. They don't, it's like if you're trying to dig a car out of a field somewhere that sat there for 30 years, they're kind of like, all right, that's good. Let's make that happen. There's not roadblocks all over the place trying to prevent you from making that happen. The system is, it's there, and it's established to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. And I definitely appreciate that. Kudos to Kansas. I'm glad I live here and not in some of the other locations in the world. I guess that's all I can think about for now. Appreciate it. Hope you find it helpful.